Start something, you might not be very good at it, but over time, things gradually start to make sense. You gotta have patience with yourself and patience with the process. Every time I see an artist, every time I learn about an artist, it gives me hope as an artist because it shows me what's capable, what can be achieved for those who work hard enough. My name is Jedley Mateer. I am a guard at NSU Art Museum, and I'm just happy to be here. So today we are in Surrounded Islands, which is a fantastic show put together by Bonnie Clearwater, thanks to donations from the Christo Foundation. And it's a very, very interesting take on an exhibition because it feels more like a documentary than an art exhibition, but being able to walk through a documentary is something that I've only been able to experience here. So they surrounded 13 of the Biscayne Bay Islands and asking why they did it, because they thought it was beautiful. And sometimes art doesn't have to have a deeper meaning than that.
Again, I don't quite know about the specific challenges, but I do know that there was a lot of reconfiguration of the physical museum building for this space, except like our largest gallery space, and everything about this project is massive. We tried our hardest to get the sense of the scale through footage and documentation of the project, but I think the actual size of the project is really hard to grasp, especially for younger audiences. We actually had to create rooms and build walls and clear walls as well as like the housing of the pink fabric. There's this little wall that curves out into the gallery space, so that had to be reconfigured.
I think the biggest challenge for us as a curatorial team was just the massive amount of works that were in the collection. There's just in the show there's over 130 works, and the piece of fabric that you saw earlier is like miles and miles long, so just the large size of them I think was the biggest struggle with our small team, because we're about like 5 people, so about 5 art handlers put together the show, just them.
So Christo and Jeanne-Claude were a couple that met during very interesting circumstances. Jeanne-Claude was the daughter of a general, and he would hire painters to come paint their family and paint their home. Then comes in Christo, who was a huge art enthusiast, would paint for this family, and eventually they became fond of each other. And they slowly became a dynamic duo, and they started wrapping more and more things. They even got to the point where they were wrapping buildings, and it's really cool because they were born on the exact same day, the exact same year, so it's kind of like destiny. And they are very different, but their differences complement each other.
And just how much money will the Surrounded Islands project mean for the artist himself? Well, Christo says, not 1 cent.
I don't like to be involved with any commercial venture because I like to keep my credibility very high and very pure.
Really awesome thing because the community got involved. A lot of boaters, a lot of volunteers end up coming through, dividing themselves into teams and making the magic happen.
Spend that kind of money what's pink around an island, unnatural.
What's happening?
Christo's volunteers were unable to finish their fabric stretching because of the weather, rain, and especially wind.
It whips it up and down, and it's hard to pull it. You have to pull it straight. You can't get the air under it. You get these big air pockets. But once the wind died down, it was great. It went down really flat. Looks beautiful. It does.
One thing that I think gets easily overlooked by visitors and by people in general about the Surrounded Islands exhibition is the immigrant workers that were sewing and putting together the fabric and rolling it out. I think it was about 40 Spanish-speaking workers in a warehouse in Hialeah, and I think that their hard work is usually what is overlooked when we think of this massive exhibition. We only think of Christo and Jeanne-Claude, but there were students involved, there were workers involved, there were immigrants involved, and it was a very collaborative work that I think usually gets overlooked by the big names. Well, I am a Miami native. I was born and raised in Miami, and I also grew up going to the cultural centers that were in Miami. And I think the significance of this project is that that would not have been my childhood if this project wasn't made and established. This project really is what turned Miami into the cultural hub that it is today. Before this, we didn't really have like institutions or funding for public or art installations. So I think as a Miami native and someone who really appreciates art, I think working on this exhibition was really important to me and really personal.
And I would say, I think their impact was to inspire artists that came after them in scale and also like what's feasible, right? So it's not just a drawing or a painting, but an artwork could be this living thing that exists in the middle of a city that all can see. And it kind of breaks out of this gallery structure where art has to be sellable or consumable and profitable. And that's not the case for this project. So I think that's a very important and influential aspect of their work.
So in a way, it is commonly believed that without this, Miami would not become the artistic hotspot that it is today.